So we got Tony Giordano live tonight. Tony is a crypto maxi, if I could call him that. He loves crypto. When we sat down and we had a really nice lunch in Newport Beach at Red O, one of my favorite restaurants in the world. You know, we sat down and we talked, and he was just on fire about crypto. And I love it when I meet people that are on fire about crypto and DeFi and all that stuff, because there's not very many of us, because it's a new thing, but we are growing every single day. And Tony's out, guys like Tony and myself are out there preaching the word. Tony's specialty, though, you can see there in his background, he's a best-selling author, a coach for real estate, and he's been featured on multiple different TV stations such as CNBC, Bravo, Forbes, Fox Business. And, you know, he actually ended up really getting a lot of notoriety from crypto when crypto wasn't even that big of a deal. And they just started asking him on these shows, and he just became like the go-to man for this on all the networks. And so I'm really excited to have Tony here. We're talking today about, you know, basically the future of finance is DeFi. And this is a big thing because, you know, we're starting to see a lot of sectors like flat or down. And this year, I'm going to show you, this year, in the last 365 days, crypto is up, up, up. And so many people still feel that crypto is a bad word, and you are missing out on a lot of stuff here that I think is going to be really big. But I'm going to turn it over to Tony. He's going to cover a little bit about like real world assets on the blockchain. Tony, the microphone is yours, my friend.
Thank you very much for having me. Glad to be back on a webinar with you. So yeah, a little bit of background, obviously, for those that don't know me. I've been in this space now since 2013. From the first time somebody even told me the word Bitcoin or crypto. And I was fascinated by the passion that this gentleman had about it, and that it was going to do this, and it was going to do this, and it was going to change the world. And you know, I'm a techie, but I'm also a researcher. I love knowledge. I love finding out information, especially when somebody has passion behind it. And so I started researching it, and I started understanding it. And I would watch these long YouTube videos about what crypto was, what Bitcoin was, what the blockchain was. And before I knew it, well into 2015, I understand it completely. So I start investing in it. I start buying, you know, a Bitcoin and then selling it and then regretting it and then buying it again and then regretting it again and then buying it and then being happy I did. And I just started figuring out how it worked and what it was, even down to the mining process. And then what happened is in 2016, 17, I started getting, you know, people coming to me saying, hey, I'm making millions of dollars in crypto, you know, by going to these crypto conferences that I was going to. I was meeting super wealthy people, and they were pretty much whales, you know, at that moment. And they said, but I don't know where this is going. This is 2016. So they're like, I don't know where this is going, and it's super volatile. I don't even know if it's real. So I want to take my millions in profit, and I want to park some of that in real estate, something more stable, an asset. And I want to be able to find property that I can buy using my Bitcoin asset, and the seller of that house accept Bitcoin. And so after doing a transaction where it was Bitcoin buyer to house seller, and the assets were traded, no US dollar used, all they did was use a law firm and make sure that there was clear title, and they traded those assets. It caught CNBC's attention. Then CNBC interviewed me, and then the rest is history. I did dozens more transactions where crypto was being used, not just being converted, but actually being used in an asset trade. And then it just blew up from there. And before I knew it, I was speaking at conferences and helping people understand where our world is going. So fast forward a few years, then in 2019, while sitting on the board for a company called Propy, Propy.com, Propy, sitting on the board of advisors for them as they launched their own smart contracts to start recording physical real estate transactions onto the blockchain, where you are actually buying the NFT that represents the actual house, and that the NFT is going to evolve into what's like the modern day deed of trust. So an example for those that are, not familiar with real estate, or those that are, you don't buy a house. You don't buy, I didn't buy the physical house. What I really buy is a deed of trust, a piece of paper with a seal on it. And whoever holds the deed with that notary public seal is who owns that physical house. And the deed is my proof that I own that house. It's not the keys. The keys aren't proof that I own the house. Living in it is not proof that I own the house. We've all heard of squatters, right? So when we buy a property, we're actually buying the deed, right? And so the evolution that's happening with blockchain and in the real estate industry is how houses are being sold more securely, where the NFT represents that home and it's recorded on the blockchain, and it's going to act as kind of that modern day deed of trust. And when you sell the property, you're selling the NFT, just like back in the day, you would be selling the deed. And so as the last few years have evolved, we're starting to see the rise of a whole new evolution in tokenized real estate, where now I can go on to different companies. I can go onto these different websites now around the world that have tokenized real estate with decentralized finance. And I can go on and look at actual physical houses that are for sale. And let's say I only have $10,000 to invest in real estate. Well, I don't know of many properties that are only $10,000, right? And let's say I can't qualify for a loan, or I don't want to pay those high interest rates to get a mortgage. I can go onto these sites and it'll say, hey, the token price for this condo is $43 a token. And I can just buy $10,000 worth of that token. And now I own $10,000 fractionally of that physical property that is managed and rented out. And I can just get my return on the rental income, get my return on the value going up. I actually fractionally own that property, no big brother involved, no mortgage involved, literally investing in physical real estate, tokenized with the power of crypto and DeFi. And so I think that as we continue evolving in this space, more and more you're starting to see the rise of DeFi being used. There's companies out there now that are accepting crypto as the deposit in the escrow of a real estate transaction. And it's going so quick, but then at the end of the day, people still just don't know much about it. They're not understanding it. And I think that that's where I really get passionate to the audiences that I teach is, I try to tell them, you need to get educated on this. You need to be educated on everything about crypto, DeFi, tokenization of real estate, tokenization of any physical product, really, and start learning it. Take the right courses, go to the right people, because this is where the world is going. And it wasn't, for the majority of the people on today's call are probably in the United States. And I'll tell you right now, crypto didn't rise and didn't become a global multi-trillion-dollar asset because of blue collar America, and Bob sitting at home in his house in Little Rock, Arkansas, wanting to dabble in Bitcoin and, I'm going to buy $250 worth of a Bitcoin and let's see where it goes. That's not how it became a multi-trillion-dollar asset. It's a multi-trillion-dollar asset because some of the most wealthy, sophisticated, intelligent people understand it. They know where it's going. They know that it's not going to be able to be controlled because it's global and not government-based. And if you're sitting back trying to believe the people who don't know what they're talking about or aren't educated in it, then it's gonna fly right by you. So I think that that's one of the things that we need to do. And I didn't know what I know now, even 3 years ago. And I constantly am having to learn new things. I remember when the word DeFi started getting used a few years ago, I was like, what the heck is that? Like, what do I have to learn? Like, now what do I have to learn? What is this? And take a whole slew of hours and hours. So that kind of brings me to you, Gavin, in all honesty, because I might be an expert in the real estate space and how crypto and blockchain are disrupting our industry and are going to continue. And it's going to be the new way things are done just in the next handful of years. But I didn't know about investing in it. I didn't know about trading it. I thought here I was an expert. And what did I do? I owned hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it was sitting in my Coinbase account. And I remember a few years ago when I first started talking to somebody who was an expert about trading, and they were like, well, what are you using for a ledger? Like, what's your nano? Like, are you using nano, or, how often are you plugged into the blockchain and like trading? And I just was like, what? And that's when they said, you need to call or go online to this company. And it was ARC Crypto. It was your company, if you remember, Gavin. And I remember not knowing anything and just going in there and seeing this course that you guys had and being like, I know I'm missing the boat. I know I'm not ever going to make tens of millions of dollars on all of my crypto unless I learn this stuff on the advanced side. So I didn't even know what I was getting, really. I just bought the package, right? And I remember still to this day, and I always have it right here, is literally like 3 days later, I get this box, ARC Crypto, in the mail. And I'm like, what the heck is this? And I open it, and right there, when I open it, is this box. I was like, what is that? I don't know what that box is. And I got a little swag and everything, right? And then there was a little card that said, scan this QR code to book your human-to-human Zoom meeting with your class course trainer. So I did that really quick. And then I look at this thing, and it's a nano ledger. It was part of the package. You guys actually sent me my first nano ledger. And all of a sudden, the next day, I'm on a Zoom with one of your amazing trainers. And this guy walks me through everything I didn't know and plugging in. And now you're on Web3. And I go, wait, Web3 is out? He goes, yeah, Web3 is out. I thought we were waiting for Web3. He goes, no, Web3 is out. It's on the blockchain. You plug in and you go into your web browser, and now you're on the blockchain. Nobody knows what you're doing. And I was just fascinated by it. And then he started teaching me all these different things about how to hold and trade. And then he really showed me like the liquidity pool aspect of crypto and using these managed vaults where AI and other things are trading my crypto and have minimums and maximums. And man, I'm telling you right now, Gavin, like what I thought I knew versus what you guys have taught me has been phenomenal, to where I can turn around and teach audiences the two sides of it. Hey, here's the use side and how it's being used and people buying things with crypto and blockchain and things being recorded and everything's going to be more secure and no more big brother with their dirty hands in the pot. And then here's the investment side to it. And remember, there's two sides to every currency: use and investing. You can use the US dollar or you can invest in the US dollar, right? And that was the side that I didn't understand. And thank goodness, you brought me to it. So, I think more than anything, people on this call and people everywhere who even want to start learning, you guys have simplified it so much. I've never met another company that has the courses and makes it so easy for you guys. Have amazing trainers, So I think for the people on this call, they should know the process and they should know what's happening on the investment side versus just the use side.